You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't even need to feel ready. You just need to start where you are. Every big story, every transformation, every success you've ever admired began with one simple decision to take action even when it didn't feel comfortable. We spend so much time waiting for confidence, waiting for clarity, waiting for the perfect timing. But confidence doesn't come before action, it comes because of action. The truth is, you will never feel 100% ready. You will never have every detail perfectly in place. And that's okay. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a habit you build by moving through uncertainty. We think we're waiting on a signal from life to begin, but life is waiting on us to make the first move. The moment you take a single step, everything shifts. Clarity begins to form, energy starts to build. The path forward becomes visible, not because it was hidden, but because motion unlocks perspective. Action creates momentum, and momentum is everything. When you start, even small, imperfect steps start stacking up. One phone call turns into a new opportunity, one message turns into a new connection, one video turns into a new audience. That's how success happens. Quietly, consistently, in motion. Perfection is a myth that keeps people stuck. We think we need to plan the perfect path before we move, but the truth is, you can't steer a parked car. You only find direction once you're already in motion. Waiting for the right time to begin is how dreams collect dust. Starting before you're ready is how progress gets made. There will always be a voice that says, "You're not ready yet." That voice is fear, and fear always shows up right before growth. It's not a warning, it's confirmation that you're close to something meaningful. Don't let fear convince you to wait. Let it remind you that you're alive, that you care, and that you're standing on the edge of something worth doing. Every great achievement looked uncertain at the beginning. The people who built extraordinary things weren't fearless. They were willing to start scared. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't know if it would work, but they moved anyway. And that movement changed everything. The first step is always the hardest because it's the one that breaks inertia. Once you take that step, momentum starts to take over. The second step gets easier. The third becomes automatic. Before long, motion becomes your new normal. Here's what nobody tells you: most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they never start. They get trapped in the cycle of planning, researching, and perfecting. They overthink themselves out of progress. You don't need another plan, you need a push. Because once you start, you realize the fear wasn't as heavy as it seemed. The hardest part wasn't the work, it was the waiting. Start where you are, not where you wish you were, not where someone else is. Where you are right now is enough. You already have enough information to take one small step. You already have enough skill to begin. You already have the right mindset to move forward. Everything else you'll figure out along the way. When you start, you learn. When you learn, you grow. And when you grow, you evolve into the kind of person who can handle what's next. That's the process of momentum. You don't get ready first. You become ready as you move. Maybe your dream feels too far away. Maybe you failed before. Maybe you're scared that this time will be like the last time. But think about it. The last time taught you something. It gave you perspective. It built resilience. You're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. That makes you stronger than you've ever been. Progress isn't about speed, it's about direction. Even the smallest movement forward breaks the pattern of hesitation. You don't need to sprint, you just need to keep walking. Small steps done daily will take you farther than bursts of effort followed by burnout. And yes, there will be days you feel like you're not getting anywhere. But momentum isn't always visible. Growth often happens quietly. Your confidence builds in the background. Your consistency compounds. The results may not show up overnight, but they're coming because effort never evaporates. Most people quit in the invisible stage when they can't yet see what's forming. But that's where the breakthrough is built. You can't skip that part. It's where your foundation forms. It's where your strength develops. It's where your identity as a finisher starts to take shape. Starting isn't about being fearless. It's about moving with the fear still present. The secret is to stop negotiating with fear. Stop asking it for permission. Fear doesn't go away when you wait. It goes away when you move. When you start, your mind expands. You start seeing possibilities you couldn't see standing still. You meet people you never would have met. You learn lessons that no book could teach. Life opens up to movers. That's why action is the cure to almost everything. It gets you unstuck. It gets you inspired. It gets you connected. Start where you are with what you have and who you are right now. Don't wait for a version of yourself that feels more qualified. That version will never arrive until you start doing the work that creates them. You are the person capable of beginning. The moment you take that first step, you start meeting your future self halfway. And remember, nobody starts perfectly. Every master began as a beginner. Every confident person once doubted themselves. Every expert once stumbled through their first attempt. The difference between those who grow and those who don't isn't talent, it's movement. There's a pattern to success: start, stumble, adjust, and continue. Every stumble teaches you something that planning can't. Every adjustment sharpens your instincts. Every continuation compounds your progress. The goal isn't to avoid mistakes, it's to learn faster than fear can stop you. You don't need to see the entire staircase, just the next step. And that next step is almost always simpler than you think. Send the message, post the video, make the call, show up to the gym, write the first paragraph, hit record, do something, anything that gets you in motion. Because the moment you act, you change your state. You go from passive to active, from stuck to moving, from hesitant to intentional. That's the power of small steps. They don't just move you forward physically, they transform you mentally. And as you keep going, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself. You stop over analyzing because you start believing in your ability to figure things out along the way. That's real confidence. Not knowing everything, but knowing you'll handle everything. Most people wait for motivation to strike. But motivation doesn't start the fire, action does. Motivation follows movement, not the other way around. So if you're waiting to feel inspired, you'll be waiting forever. The best way to get inspired is to move and let the energy catch up. Start where you are, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, even if it's small, because small doesn't mean insignificant. Every great success was once small. Every big result began as a small decision made by someone who refused to stay stuck. Momentum is a force that builds with repetition. The more you show up, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. You stop needing to force motivation because movement becomes a habit. What used to feel hard becomes automatic. That's when progress starts to accelerate, not because you're doing more, but because you've built the muscle of showing up. And when you look back, you'll realize that the moments that felt slow were actually sacred. The progress you couldn't see was the progress that mattered most. You were becoming disciplined, focused, and resilient, traits that only form through showing up when it's hard. Stop overcomplicating it. Don't wait for the perfect circumstances. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for confidence. Start where you are, because where you are is enough to begin. If you start small and stay steady, everything else will follow. Success is built on micro movements, the tiny habits that seem insignificant today but create unstoppable momentum over time. The difference between those who make progress and those who don't isn't talent, timing, or luck. It's the decision to move when it would have been easier to wait. So take the first step, then take another and another. Even if it feels uncertain, even if it feels awkward, because you'll look back one day and realize that those small, unsure steps built the life you wanted all along. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. That's how movement becomes mastery, because the truth is, you'll never feel ready and you don't need to. All you need to do is start. The power you're waiting for is already inside you. It's waiting for motion to wake it up. So take that step. Begin the journey. Build momentum one move at a time. You don't need to know how it will all unfold. You just need to start, because once you do, the rest has a way of finding you. And one day when you look back, you'll realize the most powerful moment wasn't when you arrived, it was when you began. That's the gift of starting where you are.